give it just another minute or two. We'll wait just 1 or 2 more minutes. Travis, you can say when. Okay, I think we're going to start. What do you think, Travis? Huh? Okay, all right. All right, thank you all for being here, and thanks for bearing with us. This is the first time we've done it like this, although we've been doing a tremendous amount of Zoom calls, many, and many with our clients. We just haven't done it with this exact format. So you are muted, so if you can stay muted, that would be great, and your video's off, so it's really mostly listening. However, you can ask questions, and Travis will go over that when he is talking next. I'll introduce Travis in just a minute. And also, we're going to be sharing this video along with the, we put together a PowerPoint presentation that talks about the market. So we're going to share all of that and then answer questions also if you have other questions later. Anyway, I should say who I am. I'm Jody Clegg with Compass. I can see that everybody that signed on, we already know each other, but feel free to call me anytime to start with. And we really wanted to share this just to give you an update on what the real market data is and what's happening here on our end. We're going to share it about Huntington Beach. We're going to share it about Orange County. And hopefully it answers some of your questions related to our current market and what's going on here with COVID and how are we still selling homes. First, I'm going to start off by introducing Travis Stauffer. He's our operations manager. And he's been with me now a few years and been in the real estate market a number of years. And he's actually the umbrella of our operations as a team. He's phenomenal. He's collected a lot of this information as well and make sure that we're following all of the standards constantly as a team. So I'm going to introduce him next, Travis Stauffer, and he's got the stage. So here you go. Oh, maybe he's not hearing me. Wait.
You have to actually unmute me.
I do. Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm unmuting Travis. There we go. You're still, hold on. He's coming. Let's see.
All right, you can all hear me.
Yes.
Jody, perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with y'all so you can take a look at some of the things that we dug up for you. Right. All right, perfect. So of course, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Part of the reason that we put together this presentation for you is to show you what we're actually seeing in the market. I'm going to go over some of the market metrics that we've seen since March 1st, since this COVID-19 thing has really been a part of our lives and what we're seeing in the market. I know there's kind of been a lot of doom and gloom out there from homeowners and sellers and potential sellers thinking that they have lost equity in their home and that home values are tanking. So I want to address some of those concerns, and hopefully a lot of you will actually feel better about it after this little presentation. So market update. So the big thing that we want to address right off the bat is that we are not seeing any data that is showing that home prices are actually decreasing, okay? Whether it's here in Huntington Beach or whether it's in Orange County, if you look at from March 1st of 2020 to up to about 2 days ago when we ran those numbers, if you compare pretty much any metric that we use to gauge home values, whether it's your average close price, your average price per square foot, your median price, and compare it to that same period of time just last year, which, if you remember, was actually a strong seller's market. Pretty much all of 2019 was a strong seller's market. We are not seeing any depreciation whatsoever, okay? So you can see an average close price. You're seeing an increase in Huntington Beach or Orange County, median close price, whatever the metric is that you want to take a look at to gauge if home prices are going up or going down. There's nothing that we're seeing showing that home values are going down. And in fact, a really interesting metric too that we look at a lot and that's super important to us as a team is the average sold to list price percentage. And what that is what is a home selling for compared to what it's listed for? And if you look at the data from 2020, March 1st, 2020 to a couple days ago, sellers are not at all having to come off of their price any more than they were in 2019. In fact, they're actually getting closer to their list price than they were in 2019. So even though we're all hearing a lot of stuff out there that, you know, there's no buyers out there and our home prices are going down, there's just no metric that we're seeing that actually validates that kind of concern. Jody, is that what you're also seeing from, you know, your day-to-day business?
It is. It's really true. I think what we're seeing is obviously the different price points are even more, you know, more active than others. We know the more affordable price points in Huntington Beach specifically and in Orange County are still more active. People are still very value conscious. They still want it to make sense. So I think what we are seeing though is that, you know, maybe right now people still have to be in the reality of pricing. If homes aren't selling now, they're probably priced too high, more than it's about that there's not a buyer for it. So that's really an interesting stat, I think, is that the buyers are willing to buy right now. And we're not really seeing the home prices down. We're just not seeing people getting crazy prices either. Those are the ones that seemingly aren't selling, or maybe the prices are just in high price ranges. Kind of a combo of both, but absolutely this is true.
Yeah. And to buyers and agents out there that are thinking it might be a good time to submit super low offers, thinking that sellers are desperate and that their home values have gone down and they can just get the best deal in the world right now. We're just not seeing that with the data. We're just not.
No, absolutely.
What we are seeing, though, definitely is that inventory has reduced by a lot. There's just not as much available as there usually is during this time period. If you look at the number of available units from March 1st to May 18th, a couple of days ago, you're seeing in Huntington Beach alone, compared to the same period of time last year, a 30% reduction in inventory, and in Orange County, a 38% reduction in inventory. So that's just showing there's just not nearly as much available as there was the same period of time last year. And in fact, if you look at here, new listings that are actually being taken, in Orange County, it's been down by about 48%. And that's really not too surprising because, as you guys know, the governor issued the stay-at-home shelter-in-place order. It was the evening of March 19th. And, you know, if you have to shelter in place and you're supposed to stay at home, you're not going to put your home on the market. So we have seen a drastic reduction in available inventory, and that's resulted in less closed units. There's a 30% reduction in the number of homes that have actually closed escrow over that time period compared to last year. And also the homes that are actually going into escrow, they're being placed under contract, down 52.3% in Orange County. And that's just a result of there being less available inventory. It's not really even about buyer demand at all. It's just there's not that many homes available. Jody, is that what you're also seeing?
Absolutely. So I would say the interesting thing is that, you know, right now, I personally, and our team is personally helping a lot of buyers right now in the marketplace, a lot of sellers and buyers, almost equal to or close to the same percentages. There's so little inventory to pick from. And of course, the lower the price range, the less the inventory. And still in almost all price ranges, the inventory is very, very low, specifically in Huntington Beach and a lot of places in Orange County. So we know inventory is low. Buyer demand seems to be much greater. So there's more buyers coming into the marketplace than the sellers willing to go on market. So that's such an interesting statistic too, is that we still see kind of sellers saying, well, we want to wait, we're not sure, because they're not sure what's happening in the market. So they're waiting. And then the buyers are out eager to buy. So that seems to be, and we're trying to find homes that aren't even on market for our clients right now because we don't have a lot to pick from. So it seems to match the numbers very well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because the next slide is actually about buyer demand and how it has increased. Whoops, went too far. There you go. So you can see buyer activity, it actually really cratered in April. April was the first full month that we had where it was the shelter in place. It was for the full month, right? And because of that, in pretty much every metric that we use to gauge buyer demand, how many buyers are actually out there writing offers and homes going under contract, it pretty much bottomed out in April, significantly less than almost every April prior in years prior. One specific stat and metric that I want to show to you guys that we use a lot to gauge buyer demand is the absorption rate. And all that is just what percentage of the homes that are available in the marketplace are actually being placed under contract. The higher the absorption rate, the higher the buyer demand, because more of the available inventory is being placed under contract. You can see in April, just last month, it was 29%, which actually indicates more of a neutral market, even slightly little bit of a buyer's market possibly as well. But that jumped just from May 1st to May 18th, jumped by 15%. I mean, that's a huge percentage increase that indicates a strong seller's market. And to clarify, when I mean a strong seller's market, I really mean that it just means that there's a large buyer demand with limited inventory, okay? So you've seen with the absorption rate going up significantly since May 1st. And also, I think the most telling stat on this page is the number of pended units, which means the number of homes that are actually being put in escrow, placed under contract. You can see that in May, as of May 18th, with 13 days still to go in the month, in Orange County, there's already been 1,235 homes placed under contract. Compare that to all of April, all of last month, it was only 1,326. So with 13 days to go, we've pretty much already matched the number of homes that went under contract in April. And that just shows you that the buyers are out. We've seen an increase in buyer activity like crazy. And Jody, since May 1st, have you seen something similar?
Well, yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, if you look at those numbers, we'll probably more than double May if we look at that. Because even though we're at May 20th now, those numbers could be almost double April. And I really think it's because buyers have come outside now a lot more. They've left their homes more. And it just, the sellers haven't quite picked up at the same speed that the buyers are. Again, buyers are out in more full force, not completely, but at a much greater force than the sellers are out. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's interesting too, because the next stat here is about the number of showings that we've actually had, right? I mean, there's really no better gauge of how active the buyers are than by seeing, okay, are buyers actually getting out there and scheduling showings to view properties? And this is by a program called Showing Time. They share their data, and Showing Time is just a program that's used, it's pretty popular in California. This sample size is tens and thousands of different showings since the beginning of the year. It's just a program that agents can use to conveniently schedule a showing for their buyers, okay? And so they log all of their data, and you can really see how buyer activity, the number of showings, this line right here, that orange line, bottomed out toward the end of March. About right here is when the stay-at-home issue was ordered. And then by the end of March, all the way up to really the middle of April, so pretty much 3 to 4 full weeks there, buyer activity was super limited. They just weren't leaving their home to see properties. And if they're not leaving their home to see properties, they're sure as heck not going to write offers either. But you can see since like the middle end of April, just a steady climb. And it's been drastic. If you look at just May 1st to May 18th, I mean, we're almost at where we were May of 2019, which was a strong seller's market. And I think what's super telling is that we are down in showings 15.6% compared to the same time last year. But remember that available inventory is down by 38%. So that shows that the buyers that are out there right now, they're seeing homes like crazy. There's just not that much for them to see.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've been seeing as well, Jody, with showings?
Absolutely. You know, I want to bring up a point with that, and it's hopefully we'll clarify a little bit. The buyers are very realistic. They are very excited about this low interest rate, and they want to make a move. So while we're not really seeing home prices going up, we're not really seeing them going down. They just want a fair price is what we're really seeing. And they're very open to inventory. They're open to a fair market price. They're ready and willing and able to buy. And especially one of the driving forces is the interest rates. So that's why I do think, you know, why would buyers still buy? Absolutely. If I'm a buyer, I'm still buying right now too with these rates, these payments. They're actually buying more home than they could before. But again, they just need it to make sense. So because we're helping such a large percentage of both, we can see it from the seller side, and we're seeing it also from what buyers are doing. So it's really been interesting. We do see them out. We see that this chart looks so similar to what we're dealing with every day, as far as so many more buyer calls and us trying to find inventory. Yeah. So.
One last thing I want to touch on too is just kind of a reminder to everybody that for the most part, the real estate market is driven by simple supply and demand. And right now what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot more demand than we were, and a lot more demand than I think a lot of people think there is right now, but very, very low supply. So those two factors combined into what could be considered a pretty strong market. And I think savvy sellers that know that they have a move planned in their near future would probably be smart to take advantage and go live, hit the MLS as quickly as possible. Because if they wait a couple months, it's pretty likely that they're going to be seeing a lot of competition. There's going to be more inventory that hits the market. And they're going to have to deal with more competition. It's just, obviously, it's best to sell when you have very little competition.
Yeah, and buyers are willing to look at homes on the market right now with whether there's only one or two choices. They're making choices between what's on the market right now. So that's also interesting too, is that they don't want to wait. We put a few in escrow just in the last couple of weeks. They weren't even homes that had hit the market yet. And so these, we're talking with a lot of sellers, whether you're on this call or not, that maybe didn't want to go on market, or they're not comfortable with people going in their homes. Or even other agents that have called me to say they have their clients that would be willing to sell their home. So we're doing a mix of things to find, a mix of many things to help to find homes for our clients right now, for our buyers, and we're doing everything we can for our sellers, obviously, to get them on the market sooner than later, get them priced right sooner than later, and get them safely sold. So, yeah, did you want to add to that at all, Travis?
No, I don't think so. If anybody has any market questions, you can drop them in the chat, and we'll get to those when we can, and maybe even with a follow-up email or something like that addresses some of the most popular questions that people had. We're going to go ahead and shift into talking about what we're actually doing during this market that's a little bit different than we typically do. Some things are the same, some things are a little bit different, and how we as a team have been able to help buyers and sellers safely move during this new normal. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Jody, why don't you go ahead and share yours?
Okay. All right. Perfect. Hopefully I'll do this right. Bear with me.
Leave.
Okay. Let's see. Do I have this right?
Now just slideshow at the very top.
I got that.
And then from current slide.
Yeah, it just doesn't have current slide.
Hang on.
Let's see. He's coming in to help me. Bear with me. Okay.
It's this one right here.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. This is why he's operations manager and I'm not. Okay, so safety first. We want to talk about that. Lots of questions out there. It's changed quite a bit with the first stay home being March 20th at first. We were all literally home. We weren't deemed essential immediately, but fortunately, following that shortly after, quickly after, we were deemed essential services. So all of our buyers and sellers that needed to make moves and are still needing to make moves, we're able to help them to do that. And there's so many different ways we're doing that right now, but there are some absolute real guidelines we have to follow, the COVID guidelines, and to help people to safely navigate through. We're going to talk on that a little bit. A lot of what's being done is virtually, which has helped tremendously with technology, tremendously even being with a company like Compass, because they have already, they've been priding themselves and they own so much of this, the ability to do things, again, online, which in virtually, so it's awesome. So whether a client, whatever their needs are, we're able to meet right now. Virtual listing presentations, we've done a lot of those. We're able to do it just like this, whether we're meeting face-to-face, on just our computer screens and you're walking us through your home. We're helping you to not just know what needs to get done in each room to make it show right for the process, getting your home ready, or we're able to meet you. We can meet you. There are some guidelines there too. We'll talk about that. How to get your home ready to sell for, fast and for more money, which is what most people are looking for. How do we market your home? We go through all that with you, again, virtually or in person, but we can do it virtually. What your home is worth, again, we can do that virtually as well. Same thing with virtual buyer consultations. We are able to talk with them this way. I've had a lot of conversations. Again, we're doing video conference or we're having phone calls. We talk about the trends in the market, what they're looking for, what they can expect, properties that are matching their criteria, and maybe some of the properties that are off market that also match their criteria or that we know may be coming back on market. So we're doing a lot of that for related to inventory. Hopefully that answers some questions there on that, and there'll probably be more on that to come. Again, getting a home prepped, that's an interesting part, because remember, not only is real estate essential, but so are contractors, so is staging and repairs, painters, carpet. I mean, really, if somebody needs to do these things before they go on market, we're still able to really help with that process, give them the direction, what needs to be done, and even help if they don't know the people, we're able to help with that. There's still Compass Concierge, which is really the means for them to be able to even have those things done, have the carpet and paint done, and it's paid through Compass Concierge and comes out of the sale of the property, for example. We can talk more on that if you have a question, but we're able to help get the home ready so that when we are doing the photography and the video and the 3D tour, that everything looks as best as possible. Because remember, a lot of the buyers that are looking, they're also looking online. There's never been so many online views. This is the highest ever in history of online views of any kind. So more people are online looking at homes. So that's why it's so important that the home looks a certain way, whether we're able to get in the home with you because you're okay with that, or whether we're doing that guidance again virtually. We want to make sure that we do the best we can for you. Same thing with virtual showings. We do a lot of that. If either the buyer doesn't feel comfortable coming in, or you don't feel comfortable having a lot of people in your home, we are able to navigate through the home with a virtual open house or a virtual showing. So we're able to FaceTime with the buyer or the family, and they can see, and they can, maybe the biggest thing to them is the kitchen or the bathrooms or the garage. So we're able to navigate through the home with a virtual tour for them as well. So Travis, was there anything you wanted to touch on with that?
No, just with those virtual showings, what that allows us to do, whether it's a virtual showing or virtual open house, is we do everything we can to present a home online for a buyer to really get a true feel of the home, whether it's with the photos or whether it's with the video or the 3D virtual tour. But really the best way is to be there with somebody. If you don't want to physically be there, is to be there on FaceTime with somebody and just walk through the property, and they can ask, hey, can you show me the kitchen? Can you show me the side yard? Can you show me the garage? That may not always be included in every photo and video. So that's something that we're able to do, whether it's with the buyer or if we're representing a seller and an agent brings a buyer and that buyer is not comfortable being at another property in person, just wants to do a virtual showing, we'll connect directly with that agent or buyer on FaceTime for them. So it's something that we can offer to everybody. And again, it just goes to being as flexible as possible during this kind of uncertain period. And everyone has different levels of comfortability too. And we're able to meet those different needs.
And we have done everything from selling a home virtually where the buyer hasn't even been in the door. Their inspector has come for them, and they've never really, the seller has not had to deal with, other than, again, an inspector. In one case, we didn't even have an inspection, but it normally has to be inspected. But we've really done almost everything virtually when needed. And then we've done everything else as well, meaning we can do the appointments, we can meet you in person. We are, of course, incredibly careful about that, masks and gloves and booties, and we'll talk about that later. And only so many people in your home at once, which is only 2. So it's very strict, but we've been able to do that start to finish, and it's been very successful. And buyers are buying and closing escrow, and sellers are able to see the process through. So, and we'll move on to the next one. You know, this one, we're going to talk about vetting, showing a request. It comes up all the time. And the good part is we always did this. So it makes it easy for us to transition into, just like a lot of our virtual ability, we did a lot beforehand, and we were already with Compass, who was doing a lot, had a lot of these tech tools. So fortunately, we feel a little ahead of the game on some of this stuff. Vetting, showing requests has always been a big one. One is we don't want to waste our clients' time. We don't want to waste our time either. It's really kind of both. But we know we're very sensitive to our sellers' time, because you're the one who has to either get your home ready to look a certain way, or you have to leave the property, which in this case now you would. So we want to make sure they're pre-approved. We've got verification of funds to cover the down payment. They've sent a pre-approval letter and another form. And again, this is changing and more layers of safety. There's a property entry advisory declaration that has to be signed by the buyers and the sellers and the agents that would be entering a property. So that is something we do, along with making sure when we get a call, not only am I asking the buyer or asking the agent if they have the buyer, because they could, either the agent could call me or the buyer could call me. I'm also asking them, and our team's also asking them, have they driven by? Did they already look at the photos, the video, the 3D tour? Making sure that we've already done all that work, so that we're just not, you know, randomly meeting people ever. Okay, so that's be assured about that. We're very particular about the details of the safety and the time, and making sure we value and respect your time as well. So anything you want to add to that, Travis?
No, you know, again, it just goes back to trying to avoid wasting our clients' time and wasting our own time. Again, everyone is a little bit different with how comfortable they are. Some clients, some sellers really want to have it vetted out completely. Like, we want to know every single thing about these buyers before they come into the property, because they just want to limit showings that may not go anywhere. And it's hard to say if you can ever completely eliminate them. Some people want to get through the door. But yeah, it's just doing everything we can to make sure that everybody is safe, and always staying up to date with the new documents that need to be signed. That document Jody was talking about, I mean, it literally changes. I think it's changed 4 times since it was first put out, and it was only put out about a month ago. So it's like every single week it's being changed, and you know, we're always there to review it, see what the changes are, and make sure that those things are signed and squared away to protect everybody, to protect the seller, protect the buyer, protect the agents. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then again, the virtual open house is the same thing. You know, we do a great video that's professionally done, but we also do walkthroughs where I'll go through the home. I'll talk about the features, what I love best about the home. We're able to use that on everything from like social media, email blasts, share it with the real buyers that are very interested in the home, or the agents interested. So we take a lot of steps in giving them other alternate ways of really seeing all the nice features in your home, and talking about the value of your home and location, and everything, any other benefit that we can see there. So this one here, this has also been an constantly changing evolution. We're on calls regularly and daily. Fortunately, we have Travis on our side as a team to make sure that we're on top of every requirement possible for the local and state guidelines for showing and selling property. So this now, if you want to share that, Travis, was just in the last couple of days, this one came out. So
yeah, it just came out actually last Friday, and it's funny, we took the time to print them out. It's provided by our brokerage, and it's actually a state regulation for this to either be posted at the property for showings, like on the front door, or like all the time, or we can just bring it for the showing and make sure that everybody is aware of what it says. We actually took the time to get these laminated and either post them on the door for sellers, or again, just bringing it to the showings at the time. And that was 5 days ago, and they've already changed it. So there's already been a modification to this, which just goes to show regulations are seriously changing every single day. And our top priority above really everything is to make sure that our clients are safe. You know, whether it's safe from COVID, or safe from any kind of penalties of not doing things the right way. So that's really our biggest concern. Above even selling the home is just making sure that everybody is safe.
It's been a lot of extra work. There's not a question about that. And you know, we always were kind of attention to detail as a team anyway. So again, we feel a little bit more I would say comfortable being uncomfortable. There's a lot of guidelines and rules we're following, but we just keep adapting. We keep making sure that we're taking care of our clients along the way. We're keeping everybody safe and then still doing our job, because ultimately we know people still want to make a move. So how important it is to follow the guidelines, but also be available, ready. And, you know, I'm completely comfortable personally, and our team is as well, to do everything and anything it's going to take, and doing it by following the guidelines. So I think that's a big one as well, that I'm here in the office, we're social distancing, we're careful, we're healthy, we're making sure that when we come to your home, you know what to expect. The same thing with the buyers, we're letting them know what to expect, how to be properly prepared before they show up, that we've already vetted them out. So there's a lot of work that we already did before, and now we're doing more, and that's okay, because you know, this is what we have to do right now to make sure it works for you. And it is working. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. So really we kind of hit on a lot of this, that we encourage virtual meetings with our clients, but we are able to meet with you in person. So if you're comfortable with that, we can do that. Same thing with the buyers. We are able to schedule showings. There are no open houses, just in case you're wondering. That's why you're not seeing signs out. If they are out, they're not supposed to be out. Open houses are not allowed. That would be gathering and a problem. And there is no open houses anywhere. And also just really even showing a home, there's only a couple people in the door at any given time, and that's assuming that a seller lets us in the door, or that you want to have people come in the door. We are able to, again, meet in person, meet with inspectors, meet with vendors, meet with the buyers to discuss options, and almost anything related. We're still meeting the appraiser, prepping for the appraiser, meeting the termite company, all that, you know, helping to pick up paint colors if you're going to paint before you go to market, or helping with a handyman, helping with Compass Concierge. So there's many, many layers that are happening that we can do, as long as you're comfortable, of course. So I don't know if you want to add to that at all, Travis, but
yeah. Just want to say, I mean, even though we do have the flexibility to do a lot of things virtually, and have been doing a lot of things virtually, I know Jody is, and I know myself as well, we're still happy to meet clients. We'll meet with them in person. And truthfully, I would say probably the majority of our clients have just said, okay, it's fine, let's just meet in person, and prefer to do it that way. Mm-hmm. And we're happy to do that. So while things have changed in the sense of things are going more virtual than they ever have been before, and we can meet those needs, we also are more than happy to meet with people in person as well. We just make sure that we follow the regulations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about our activity, because you know that comes up a lot. How is the market? Are you still selling homes? And you know what? We are very busy. And as you can see with even just the slides that Travis shared on activity, with the amount of buyer calls, with the amount of agent calls, trying to show homes, with our sellers wanting input, or getting offers, even some in multiple offers, believe it or not. And we're selling and closing homes. So we'll talk about that. We've had, since March 20th, we've had 9 new listings, 7 of them in escrow, and we've closed 13. So, and since the beginning of the year, since January, I know as a team, we've sold the most homes in Huntington Beach, closed. So we've really been helping a lot of sellers and a lot of buyers, very, very cautiously and very focused. So that's happening. And even though, again, some of the market has slowed down, there's no question, because look at inventories down 50%, about thereabouts, and still activity's down some too, but it's still surprisingly busy. So I think it's important to know that. Just keep in mind one thing, we talked a lot about seller's market, buyer's market. It really, at the end of the day, I think this is important before we get into questions to share, is that I'm just really happy to see that real estate has done so well in Orange County and Huntington Beach right now. That's what I'm most optimistic about. It's the one layer, or even just the one piece of the economy that at least here in Huntington Beach and Orange County, that is very strong right now. Again, buyers wanting to buy, sellers wanting to sell. We know for sure interest rates have had a huge impact on that, and that people want to lock into these low payments. So that's a big part of it. But again, mostly encouraging news, very encouraging news. What kind of questions that you might have? I don't know if there's a few more things that we want to share related questions. Travis, do you see any that we might want to answer?
I don't see any questions here from anybody, but if anybody has any, you can go ahead and type them away, and we will address any and all of them.
Mm-hmm. I know a few people have asked, and one on an email talking about what it's like to go off market versus active, and that's something that we can share with you as well, because some people they're not wanting to go on market right away, but they want to get their home prepared, and then they hear about coming soon, and then they know about going live. Probably that's the one that most people do know, that going live and being on the multiple listing and being sort of open for the world to see your home. That seems to come up a lot. We are doing all of those things, but there's careful ways that we have to do all those things. People who aren't really comfortable going on market, we've sold a couple homes like that where they're not even, I don't even know that they're really considered off market. They just know they're going to sell. We know a buyer that would want to buy it. That's just, those homes never hit the market. And Travis, do you want to speak a little bit to that? Because it has come up as a question too about the coming soon versus even going active.
Yeah, the MLS is actually, they've allowed something now, it's called their clear cooperation policy, where they allow us to actually market a home publicly for up to 21 days without it affecting days on market. So we can publicly market that to anybody. It won't affect your days on market. So when you go as active on the MLS, which is the one where it's available to everybody, not just realtors. For realtors, only realtors can see the coming soon listings on the MLS. When you go as active, it won't show that you have 21 days on market. It'll show 0 days on market like a brand new listing, but it gives us 21 extra days of advertising while the home is technically off market. Only caveat is that we're not allowed to show the property during that time period, but we can still advertise it, send photos, send the 3D virtual tour, all that stuff. So something that a lot of sellers have decided to take advantage of, which I think is really smart.
And sometimes that works. Sometimes, just we can create enough interest that a buyer will, whether it's our buyer or another agent's buyer, whether it's our team or even another agent's that's not with our team or company, we can sell homes on coming soon. We are definitely most successful though when we go active. Would you agree with that? And even some that say, oh, we're thinking about, and then of course they really step up when we're active, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's when we see our biggest change. Really, really great to have everyone here today. I know a lot of people couldn't make it on the call, but we're going to be sharing it. So this will be shared. The video will be shared. The slideshows, the PowerPoint presentation will be shared as well. And any questions that you might have, you can always call me direct. My cell phone's easy. I'm happy to meet with you if that's something that you wish as well. And I'm just really grateful that everyone's doing well, and that we actually have good numbers here also from a health perspective here in Huntington Beach and Orange County. Really grateful about that too, that it's more promising that this will go away here very soon, and everyone will stay safe and healthy, and that will help you to make the moves,
And before we wrap up here, Stephen did just ask a question. He asked, if a client is stressed out about the pandemic and wants to sell only after the pandemic, what is a good way to calmly communicate with them about how we can still get everything done in a safe way? So I'll jump in on that. And like I said,
sure,
everybody is a little bit different with their level of comfortability. It just really, really depends on the client. I would say that we would just present to them all the things that we do to maybe alleviate some of those concerns about virtual showings, virtual open houses, 3D tours, limiting the number of people in the home at one time. So all of those different things I would say we would talk to them about. But ultimately, if they're not comfortable with doing it, it's their decision. Mm-hmm. But I think I do feel pretty strongly, and I think Jody would agree, that if you are considering moving anytime in the near future, it's smart to take advantage of high buyer demand and low available inventory and go on the market as quickly as possible.
Mhm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And right now, it's almost presenting as a regular kind of that summer market, or that April, May, June market, which is your prime time. So it's a great time. I think it's a great time to buy because you're getting these great rates. And if we can find you the right home, or someone's willing to sell right now and go on market, or we know about a home before it hits the market, it's great for buyers that way. So I really am still encouraging the buyers in the marketplace, because I think it's still a perfect time for them. It might not be a better time for them with these rates. And then, with sellers in mind, I agree. It's definitely a great time to consider going on market right now. And we can help you with a lot of those concerns. I think are going to be one-on-one. We can talk you through that. Like Stephen, your question, I think is really something that we talk to each individual client, and we make sure that we go through those concerns, and then we see what we can do ahead of time to alleviate anything that really, again, some have real health concerns, or some have timing concerns, or maybe animals, or they have repairs. There's so many things that come up, and really none of them, I feel like we've pretty much done every one of them at one point after thousands of transactions. So been doing this, almost 24 years. So yeah, feel free to call me though. I'm more than happy to have any conversation, whether it's you need help today or you need help, in a year or two, just feel free to make that call. Okay. Anything else, Travis, that we want to share today?
I think that's it. And I think that's it with the questions too. So seriously, thank you everybody for joining us. For those who couldn't, this will be coming out shortly.
All right. Thank you again. All right. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.